of that
giant
never
red
come
flag.
up?
That's kind of a giant.
I've
yeah.
learned more about people on first dates than Billy and Cooper knew in the entire duration of their marriage.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
I brought a special guest with me today.
What is it?
What do you think it's gonna be?
Is it the Nido? Is it
I like
the
to
Nido?
sometimes think I'm more sneaky than I am, but oh, it stayed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my friend. This is my friend Nido.
This is our baby. We
It's
each
my
have one
emotional
now
support Nido.
because you bought your own.
And genuinely,
One of the best.
I think it makes me a better person.
It's so fun.
Like,
is it not?
You'll see. Like, it's pretty slow right now. He's got to warm up. Well,
He's
I
a
think
little
they're. I think
nervous.
they're non-binary. Honestly,
That's fair. Their pronouns are they, them.
Yeah, because also too, if they did, I would just be squishing the shit out of their guts.
What?
Well, just like if they had organs.
Oh. I thought you were making a commentary about how you would squish them more if they had a different gender
No.
identity. And I was
No.
like, that feels kind of
No,
violent.
'Cause if, like,
Again.
if they had any like anatomical features,
Yeah, that's
then
true.
it would not be real good
Their
for them.
guts would be smooshed.
Yeah,
no,
'cause
that's
it's
totally
squishy,
true.
Because it's squishy.
That's
He'll
totally fair.
get big again. I'll hold him like this, and you'll see. It's like magic. It'll be like magic. in
It
my
is
hand.
kind of like magic, honestly.
I'm gonna do my best to hold it like this, just at least for the initial, and see.
I love them
It's
so
taking
much.
a really long time. Normally, it's a little quicker than that, and
Well,
I'm
it's
kind of
because
nervous.
it's cold. I'll link them in the Amazon
I know.
storefront though if you guys want to get one because they're genuinely so fun. We talked about it on the last pod, but I really like how quiet they are.
Oh yeah, you guys aren't even gonna hear it. It's gonna be
'Cause-
like silence.
Well, because like when I am in session as a therapist, like I don't want to distract my
No, of
clients with
course
like
not.
loud stuff, you know. So I like fidget spinners, but I like this better.
Oh, so much better. Also, yeah, something's just. You made a joke about growing and being cold, and I was gonna make an innuendo.
No,
Not a double entendre. It would just be a regular innuendo.
entendre. Also by the time you guys are seeing this, it's 2 episodes ago. But we talked about Aaron's journey with his Mighty. He has a Pixel
I'm a
watch.
I'm a wearable girly
tech
now.
guy. Yeah.
Can you believe it? I made
Honestly,
it.
I feel like you look really cute with it.
I know. I feel like such a fucking. I used to try and wear watches when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And then I tried for a little while as like a young adult. And
Yeah.
I just always feel like a little
Yeah.
little Poindexter. Like, can I
I
get to
remember
the
you
time?
feeling like you were a little dweeb or something.
Also, can we talk about on the last episode of Married at First Sight that we saw?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a little sleep deprived today, so if I say anything off the wall,
We'll cut it out.
We'll cut it out. But that dude who said he wears his watch on the inside so he can check the time, and he was like, "Yeah, so that I know if we've been talking for too long or something."
What?
Remember that guy, the gym bro? Who only ate eggs and steak? Remember?
Yeah,
Remember he
that
said
guy?
Yeah, remember he
I
said
don't
that?
remember that.
Yeah, she was like, "Why do you wear your watch on the inside?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so I can check the time while we're talking without making it obvious." You don't remember that?
No. That's so hateful.
Yeah, I'm about to show you that clip again
What
because
a
it's fucking
rude,
awful.
rude person.
Yeah, I know.
That's terribly
Steak
annoying.
and eggs. Can you imagine his farts and his cholesterol?
Stinky. That man must have been so stinky.
The sweat.
Just awful.
'Cause remember too, they talked about how much he sweats.
I just know that he smells like sulfur. Yeah.
I love a good hard-boiled egg. I won't even lie to you. But remember that period of time I was eating
I do.
2 or 3
And you
hard-boiled
got
eggs
fat
every
shamed
day.
by the doctor.
I know.
And it was really,
incredible.
really
What
vindicating for me, honestly.
What a humiliating. Speaking of fat shaming, Mickey recorded and I edited the most fantastic,
It's a really
phenomenal
good video.
Like, I'm not even saying this facetiously. Like, what does Lady Gaga say? It's what's that meme?
That like little meme of her being like incredible,
Yes.
life changing,
Every
never
sing-
been done.
Yes, literally every single one of those.
Yeah.
It's coming out this week. The week this video,
Yeah.
this pod goes up on
It will
Saturday.
be up on Saturday.
Please, I know you're
Please
gonna
go watch
see.
it.
I know you guys love when Mickey talks, and like there's plenty of it. I think I don't know what the final runtime is. It's probably
So
3 hours
It's
at
a
least.
long video, yeah. But it is my
and-
magnum opus, and I'm very proud of it.
When I tell you, Mickey has like she was like Beethoven or like Mozart. Like anytime I would come home or anytime we were
Stop.
doing anything,
Stop.
Mickey was in there in the dark.
Yeah.
Just
I disappeared into my office for
like hacking
Yeah.
the fat phobic mainframe.
legitimately, I joked on my Instagram story that I was going to give myself carpal tunnel, and like
Oh.
legitimately, my wrist is like I have like a tendon in my wrist that gets swollen when I use
Yeah,
my computer
which
too
is
much.
why
This
you
is
don't
also,
edit anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say why you started editing the videos, but my wrist has been hurting
Oh,
for
yeah.
the last week because I've just been sitting at my computer typing away.
Yeah.
but
Seriously though, guys,
it's a really good video.
Please go and watch that video
It's a
this
good video.
Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
You're so sweet.
It's
You're
truly
my biggest fan.
excuse me, the last hour of that video is seriously some of the most touching
Yeah.
YouTube
Thanks, Pumpkin.
commentary.
That's very
and
sweet.
it's just
You're so
when you
very
watch
sweet.
it, I just need you guys to think of like good trilogy movies or like the Lord of the Rings or something, you know, where, like
Stop.
you have your beginning and where you're at the Shire and it's nice and green and you never want to
Stop
leave,
it.
and then you
I
get to the
didn't
two
even structure it
towers.
that way on
and I know, but
purpose.
it's
I was
so
just trying to
good.
make it
It's
chronological.
it's so genuinely good, and like the middle
Thank you.
the middle of the video is it's dark and it's heavy and it's honestly
Yeah.
it's kind of depressing, I won't lie, but like, well, because the information, it sucks.
No, I know.
but then you get to that
There's, like,
last
a nice
hour
story
and
arc
you have
to it.
Gandalf the White
Yeah.
comes and he saves the day. Oh
Dumb.
my god, it's good. It's so good. Like, I'm
You're
getting goosebumps literally thinking about
entirely
it.
too nice to me. Thank
No,
you.
seriously, I'm not overhyping it either. Please go watch the video this Saturday.
Yeah, it's a good
I think
video.
we're gonna premiere it too, right? Yeah, so you guys
Yeah.
can talk to
It's
Mickey
been a
about
minute
it.
since we did a premiere, anyways,
Yeah.
and it feels like an important one.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a good fit for a premiere, so.
But yeah, so please go check that out. Something else I think everyone should check out.
What?
What?
Are you gonna promo something else?
No
For me?
promoting.
What?
No. I can hype you up if I want to.
I don't
If you
receive
do
things
some-
well.
I know.
I don't receive love or affection
If
well.
you guys
okay?
ever want to make Mickey super uncomfortable during streams, just like
Don't tell them that.
they don't need any help with that.
I have trauma. Okay.
No, I wanted to start out with the weirdest intersection that I ever thought
What?
would ever be is the intersection between Republicans and Swifties.
Oh my
Not even Swifties
God.
even. Just
Yeah.
like, so apparently
You were telling me about this in the car, and I don't really understand what's going on.
it's
so
the
please start from the beginning.
craziest. We don't really keep up with sports ball.
No, we don't like football or sports
yeah,
at all.
so obviously Travis Kelce plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is
Sure.
a football team.
Okay.
It's the sport with the oval ball. It takes a
I
really
know
long
what
time to
football
finish.
is.
There's lots of
Stop.
commercials. It's not like real football with your feet.
Yeah. Football.
And Taylor Swift, the world's greatest. What is her Spotify bio? If you guys ever get a chance, they're auto-generated. But for people like me, there is a character limit for Spotify bios. Not for
Apparently
Taylor Swift.
not for Taylor Swift.
I actually put it
Homegirl
into
wrote a thesis.
it will, and
It's insane.
I don't want to say it was her because I know they're auto-generated.
No,
by a thing,
yeah, sure.
But I think it's like 75,000 characters long.
It's insane how
Like,
long that bio
but
is.
it's so self.
It is a pretty self.
Oh my god, just like jerking yourself
yeah.
off bio that I've ever seen. I know she didn't write it herself personally.
Sure,
But if
sure.
I was the artist, I'd be like, fucking
Can
get
you
that
remove
shit
that,
out of here. It's
please?
like it's literally like a small story, like a small book.
It reads as like a nonfiction
Yeah.
novel. It's like or nonfiction
It's
novel, nonfiction
truly
book.
a feat of writing.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there was
really
that
a
many words
lot.
to say. But anyway, so she's dating
Yeah.
Travis Kelce on
Football
the
player.
Chiefs, and so she obviously the
Because she
Chiefs are
goes
going.
to his games
Yes, he goes to his games
and does
regularly.
like the little supporting her boyfriend thing that everybody does.
The the
Yeah.
high school cheerleader, football star,
Yes.
famous thing.
Yeah.
And so the other intersectional thing that we're talking about is Republicans now are super fucking mad at Taylor Swift now, and they are.
For dating somebody in the NFL or for going to the games?
It goes
'Cause
deeper than that.
I've seen people getting mad about her like getting airtime
Yeah.
at the games or something,
But
which like I don't understand that either.
They have been doing this in sports since forever, for the beginning of time, like basketball or anything. Like people
Yeah.
have seats,
Celebrities
like,
and stuff, yeah.
they
But-
they're
Also, too, can we talk about with football, especially how hilarious this is? Because like people have actually checked about how much gameplay
Oh, so
gets
little.
featured, and
Yeah.
like, isn't it something hilariously low, like 5 minutes or something?
It's like
I don't know if that's true. Like somebody fact check that in the comments.
it's like the time per playing per advertisement.
Yes.
is so
so
egregiously
low. Well, and then there's like replays, and then there's
Yeah.
just footage of like the fans, and then there's advertisements, and there's like all of this stuff that like really ultimately is not actually a lot of gameplay.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's funny about this too is that football at this point, it's like more so like communal
Yes.
social event than it is like an actual game.
Yeah.
You know? Like
I agree with that.
Like the fixation with like celebrities or whoever getting camera time is like, I don't know, sort
like
of
a
odd
marginal
because like,
thing.
well, but like we weren't really here for the football in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like people who go to like the games, like to sit in the stadium, I get that, right? But
Yeah.
like I just don't understand. Like, it's not like there was really all that much gameplay footage on televised football as it is.
I think I mean, for me personally, it's a vehicle for men to be able to talk and communicate with other men. We've talked about this before on the channel.
Absolutely, it is.
And there's nothing wrong with that, and having, because I know men are not
Sure.
socialized to.
Yeah. There's some
talk and, like,
misogyny
or they are
patriarchy affects
socialized.
everybody.
Yes.
Sure.
But anyways, so the running theory now from Republicans is that Taylor Swift works for or has been employed by the CIA, FBI, and obviously like we talk about couples and celebrities and like PR relationships and stuff.
Yes.
And so apparently now that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, that this has all been because people have always speculated too that football is staged and rigged,
Sure.
and like the team that's gonna go was gonna win anyways, and like refs calls and stuff are like a tale as old as time. And so Taylor Swift has been employed by the CIA
supposedly
to infiltrate the NFL, and ergo by having Travis go all the way to the Super Bowl and have a halftime performance. And the real kicker, endorse Joe Biden for president in 2024. This has all been a long con.
So many leaps.
Yes.
And like, I hope that whoever conducted or constructed rather this conspiracy theory stretched before they did so, because they're going to pull something
it's
reaching like that.
Yeah, let me show you something. Can I read some tweets to you?
Please do.
Okay, so this is an article from Rolling Stone where I'm pulling all this stuff from. And the article, no, I'm not subscribing. It took it away from me. Oh my God.
Hateful.
I had it and I read the whole thing earlier.
Technical difficult. No, they do that where like when you've reached your limit of like free articles. Read me the tweets.
Okay. So this tweet comes, thinking about when Taylor Swift called out the Soros family in 2019 for buying the rights to her music, and then how she came out as super liberal in 2020. This was in reference to, remember when she was like, just go vote or whatever? She told her fans to go vote.
Yeah.
Didn't tell for which party. Didn't say for anything in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, didn't say. Yeah, she just said to go vote.
Yeah.
Like to exercise your rights to vote.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, because obviously Republicans don't like when people tell people to vote.
Yeah.
And so Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy, he was one of the not front runners, just one of the other GOP candidates running against Trump, but is also
Republican loser.
Sucks off Trump.
Got it.
Because obviously you can only run as a Republican if you're actually just working for Trump or are Trump in a lizard suit. I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month, and I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially culturally propped up couple this fall. Just some wild speculation over here. Let's see how it ages over the next 8 months.
Like, are they okay?
I don't know. Also, are they like, Taylor Swift was popular in her own right.
Yeah.
Well before.
The thing that's like especially interesting to me about this whole conspiracy theory of like Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce to perform at the Super Bowl, but then also somehow promote Joe Biden is that she could have just done all of that on her own.
No, literally.
You know what I'm saying? Because also too, like, okay, so let's say it's not Travis Kelce, right? Like, let's say she was in a relationship with some other fucking celebrity sports ball person, right? She was likely going to perform at the Super Bowl anyways, because the rumor was that was like situated beforehand or whatever, right?
I don't even think she's performing this year.
Oh, she's not? I thought she was. Oh, I thought you said she was
That makes
earlier.
it even more weird.
That's even less.
Yeah, it's someone else. Let me look up who's performing this year.
That makes even less fucking sense.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's
anyways, what I was
performing.
going to say is that, like, so let's say that she performs at the Super Bowl or attends the Super Bowl or whatever. All of the coverage about her is going to be whoever she's with. If it's her friends, if it's her boyfriend, if it's like
if
whoever.
she wore her hair differently.
Literally. Like Taylor Swift attending a big event is going to be news regardless.
No matter what.
And so like, but the thing that's especially funny about all of this though is that like it doesn't matter if she is like going to the Super Bowl or like is like promoting all of the stuff. Like anything that she does is going to be noteworthy and is going to be like turned into news.
Press.
She doesn't need to invent this whole dating Travis Kelce to go to the Super Bowl thing to endorse Joe Biden as president. She could have just been like, hey, go vote for Joe Biden. And people would have been like, yay. But
also,
like, who cares?
I also don't put it on her to even take a stance that far.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
You know what I'm
She's
saying? Like,
not really, very vocal
like
in that
we do
regard.
very middle of the line, middle of the road, the safe things.
Yeah, very inoffensive takes.
I need you to, and then there's this other absolutely unhinged tweet.
Oh, no. Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Yes. Okay, for 2 weeks, 99% of America will be 49ers fans, but in return, you must defeat the Chiefs. Something the country as something, elect Joe Biden. World War III will likely follow in a second Biden term and millions will die. The fate of the free world rests on your shoulders. No pressure.
The weight of the free world rests on whether Taylor Swift goes to a football game
and endorses Joe Biden.
Also, too, if they wanted to start World War III, wouldn't they have just done that already? He's already...
But, like, haven't they, though?
Kinda.
Okay, the thing that is also really odd to me about this is that, so we're acknowledging then that Taylor Swift has a world of influence, right?
Yeah.
But also somehow we hate Taylor Swift. She doesn't matter. Stop talking about Taylor Swift at these football games. She's just a silly little woman. But also somehow Taylor Swift single-handedly has the power to sway the entire
world order
2024 presidential election. So, like, which is it? Is she a silly little girl who's ruining your football time? Literally. Or is she, like, an evil genius? Because it can't be both.
Is it the misogyny or is it the misogyny talking?
Truly. That's so annoying.
The best and the last...
I don't even like Taylor Swift like that, and I'm, like, defending her because this is such unhinged fucking behavior.
And the last... twist of them all is that Trump, well, apparently those near Trump are saying that Trump is threatening an all-out holy war against Taylor Swift if she endorses Biden.
A holy war? Is she
unquote,
even a Christian person?
I don't even know.
Has she spoken publicly about her religion? Like, what?
Truly.
On what grounds are we waging why a holy war specifically?
Every time you think it can't get any more weird, it just gets a little bit more weird.
It's almost like ChatGPT.
It defies sense.
Just like somebody prompted ChatGPT to make up something silly and ridiculous about, like, if you gave it the keywords like Republicans, Taylor Swift, conspiracy theory. This is the kind of like nonsensical, tangential, and unrelated flight of ideas that I would assume only an AI could come up with.
Well, and I just think like it just so easily goes to show how they like live in this constant world of what are those? What's the phrase for it when you believe in things that aren't real? The
delusions.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
They just fucking live there.
That's true, because their whole world is kind of constructed of like a series of loosely tied together conspiracy theories about how everything is a plan and it's all part of a greater plot, which I think also speaks to the hypervigilance that people in this very cult-like culture experience, you know?
And then because everything.
Well, and like they refuse to accept the truth that like, you know, queer people, black and brown people, marginalized people are just people who want to be advocated for, who want to feel empowered, who want to advocate for themselves, right? And are no longer content to take this like marginalization and oppression
like
sitting down.
Quo, that's the good old
and they like refuse to acknowledge that as being real, and so they invent these backwards and nonsensical conspiracy theories about how like it actually is just one person who's trying to take us all down and blah blah, and like all of this stuff. Like you're just insecure. Just say that. Like it's so much faster. I
just don't understand. There's another tweet and I'm not gonna go out and look for it, but it's just like someone saying people are realizing that the Republican Party is like homophobic, transphobic.
Just now people are realizing that?
No. But like they're saying it out loud and they're like, why don't people like us? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
because you're fucking awful.
No shit.
Because you're the worst fucking people on the face of the planet.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of the worst person on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Is it Cooper or is it Brad?
I think it's Cooper.
Oh, it is definitely Cooper. There's only one right answer. Because honestly, after we watch those reviews again, I kind of resonate with Brad a little bit.
You see?
Like, Brad is not the bad guy.
No.
Brad is not the bad guy in sex life.
Well, sort of. I think a lot of his early behavior in his relationship with Billy was really problematic.
That was really problematic.
Right?
That was very problematic.
That sucks. But I think the latter half of the season, where like Cooper is being so unhinged. Weird and abusive and shitty, and Brad is just like, I don't know what you want from me, man. Like, Billy and I are not involved with each other.
Yeah.
I'm just like engaged to this lady. We're going to have a baby. Like, I'm just trying to mind my own business and pretend to be happy with my fiance who only wants me for my money. And like, Billy and Cooper are just like having this weird thing where like Brad is very, you know what, the funny thing about it is that it's very much the thing where like, you know that meme I showed you a while ago that like anytime you feel insecure about yourself, remember that you're probably a sore spot in somebody else's relationship.
Oh.
And like, it's very much
Wait,
that.
what do you mean? Or like because of something you did, or
No, that like somebody, it's like a joke about how like anytime you feel like you feel insecure, like you don't matter, that like remember there's probably a couple who fights about you because one person in that couple is like secretly obsessed with you.
Wow, I love that.
You know, yeah.
I like to think that.
Exactly.
Maybe not for me, but I like to think someone gets to have that thought.
Listen, I'm not going to put your business in the street, but I know for sure that that's the case.
Hopefully.
For at least one couple.
Really? For one?
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that later off the podcast.
You know who I'm talking about.
Good, keep going. Keep going. No, I don't. Keep going.
Can I just tell you and you'll cut it out?
No, keep going. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to hold on to it the whole episode so I can wait and find out. It'll fuel me.
Fuel you.
My sleep deprived.
But no,
Body.
Brad is so very much that person. Like, he's not involved in their lives at all, really, but still is
living
somehow
rent-free.
Yes, even though Billy and Brad aren't even, or Billy and Cooper weren't even together at that point.
I think also, just before we get too much farther into it or get into it, we were having this conversation yesterday at lessons or whatever. Like, we're talking about chords and stuff, and we're like, do you think they did this on purpose because like there's like some cool theory behind it or whatever? Yeah. And I was like, I always like to believe that the artist intentionally did this really amazing thing, and then sometimes I'm like, they had no fucking idea, and they were just like, this sounds good. Just like when we're like in high school and we were doing AP Lit, and it's like, did you actually know this fork actually was a deeper
symbolic meaning
for the fucking patriarchy? Did you know?
Literally, no, it's
and
not.
the author's like, it was actually just a fork.
Literally.
The whole time it was just a fork. And so I don't want to give the people who made this show too much more credit, but I think something that just stood out to me that was Brad did not become a better person or more mature adult until he had a child.
That's kind of odd, actually. Now that
I think about it, that's a weird like kind of allegory.
Yeah.
Did they do that on purpose, or like he could have just went to therapy and probably could have worked on that stuff?
1,000%, yeah.
Without having to have a whole ass kid to fix.
Yes.
His bad boy persona.
And also, I think this is like a perfect dovetail to talk about what we discussed before we sat down to record this episode. Obviously, before we sit down to record episodes, I'm sure you guys know this, we have a little chit chat and like some like brief discussion about our core subject matter.
I wonder if anyone thinks we just show like, I always wonder.
That would be the most incredible riffing of all time. Can you imagine?
We could do it though.
Well, no, I mean we could, but it'd be all over the place.
We should get a random topic generator. We should genuinely.
Wait, that's so fun. The Discord,
Yes, and then we have no idea, and then we will just blind.
Okay, yeah. If you're a Discord member, sound off in the comments if you want us to do that or not, because we can put together a random answer, like wheel, and we can generate a random topic.
Yeah.
Maybe like once a month or something we can do.
I would love to do that so happily. I would love to get one where we don't agree on it.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, love that idea. But while we were sitting down to like sort of debrief about this topic before we dove into it, we were just talking about how this show, for those of you who haven't seen Sex Life, by the way, it's on Netflix. There's only 2 seasons.
Spoilers ahead.
And the last season is only 6 episodes. It's like pretty short.
They said, you're going to finish this right now.
Literally. But it's basically this story of a woman, her name is Billy, and her husband Cooper live this very idyllic, like
2 kids or kid, baby carriage,
love marriage, baby carriage,
white picket fence.
Yes, 2.5 children and a golden retriever kind of thing. Yeah, they live in Connecticut, and like the show opens with her reminiscing about her like single days when she lived in New York City and like public sex and raunchy sex and all of this stuff. And then it cuts to her breastfeeding her newly born baby and how like, oh, things are so different now, right? And so the show ends up being sort of this anthology of how her life changed really quickly, and she used to be like this type of woman who was, you know, like promiscuous and adventurous,
and strong before
party
she was
girl,
tied down.
very like, you know, rah womanhood kind of a thing.
Until the bad boy broke her heart.
Yeah. She had this problematic relationship with Brad, who was a damaged music bad boy.
Oh, but he's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. Super hot. Yeah, I know. They make a whole show out of like really demonstrating how impressive his appendage is, which is like,
it was a prosthetic.
It was a prosthetic, but also such an odd thing. Can I just say really quickly, like, I don't really necessarily want to be too graphic about it, but like as a person who like is more often the penetrated rather than the penetrator, I have very little interest in like the size of people's appendage in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's like a valid conversation to be had about like a goodness of fit, not in like a literal sense, but in like a sexual chemistry kind of way.
Bits are different.
No, exactly. Yeah. And so like I can fully understand that. But I also, it's just weird to me. It feels very male. It feels very like cis het man, the fixation with like penis size, because like I've never met a person who enjoys being penetrated that is like sizing up their partners solely based on the size of their genitals. It's just so odd to me.
It feels... I don't know. Of course have your preferences. Of course.
No, yeah, of course. Everybody's allowed that.
Yes.
But it just feels very like, it feels like the thing that men do with like cars and money and houses, where like it's the male gaze thing, right? Where men, like cishet men, think that for women the ideal male specimen is somebody like Ryan Reynolds or Channing Tatum. Yeah.
I'm really like, bummed that Ryan Gosling didn't come up first for you, but that's fine. That's not a judgment on you.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like really the female gaze is people like Adam Driver and like
it has to be Timothy
Tom
Chalamet.
Hiddleston. Yeah.
Is it?
For me?
No, I'm just saying generally.
I mean, I think like this sort of like thin, gangly,
like gamer boy,
wiry. Yes, very much. Yeah, especially for bisexual people who are femme or AFAB. That seems to be like the golden retriever, skinny gamer boy.
Soulmates may not exist, but preferences do.
But I'm just saying, like, it feels very male gaze, the fixation with this concept about genitals and appendages, because I just like really don't understand the fascination with it.
I can't tell if there's like a
meme. Thing? Like, maybe this is a personal question. You can cut this out if you don't want to.
No, I'll probably keep it in.
Do you remember growing up, like in our teenage and adolescent years, having an anxiety about the size of your genitals? Like, was this a thing that boys would talk about a lot?
Me personally, no, but also my friend groups were always never, because now like we joke about who has the smaller one. Which I feel like is like a weird reverse.
Yeah.
I can't tell if that's really my group of friends now. That's weird.
Wait, it's like a flex to have the smallest one?
Well, we don't actually talk about our actual penis size. It's it's like a joke. When people use when you're young and say like your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a metaphorical.
Okay.
Yeah, but we like talk about like, oh, like I would never fit that, or like a hot dog down a hallway kind of a joke.
That's so misogynistic, but go off.
Yeah, but it's like weird self-deprecating.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But so, like you don't remember feeling an anxiety about like, what if my penis isn't big enough?
I don't think so. I don't have any recollection of it. And I feel like I would.
Yeah.
I feel like when I started watching porn.
Okay.
Probably like, as you know, like when you start like.
That makes sense.
The escalation of like girls kissing. Google searches, you know, like. Mom.
Trying to erase from your.
What does he say? No, Mom, my pants fell.
My pants fell down. That poor child. So traumatized.
But yeah,
that makes
I don't
sense.
remember. But also my friend group, we never really talked about like, we're all kind of like a little sexually stunted. I was probably the more
prudish. Yeah.
I was probably the more, obviously because of you and us and me, the more like sexually progressed, advanced.
That's fair.
Person.
But also too, I really would like to think that your exposure to like Dr. Ruth and all of that, like more female oriented sex education probably had something to do with that.
I mean, I remember seeing vibrators too and being like, oh, I guess that's just the size it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if that makes sense.
Because a lot of people with penises, that's not true. It's men. It's cishet men are like intimidated by the presence of sex toys and stuff because it's like a fear about your genitals being not good enough.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just different.
Well, and also too, like sex toys are teammates regardless of like what they're being used for.
They're just like, it's a toolbox. It's
literally.
A toolbox.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Anyways,
We've just been talking about dicks this whole time.
Sort of rabbit trailed. But yeah, so anyways, the premise of Sex Life is that Billy had this problematic relationship with Brad.
It was problematic,
to be fair. Was like very damaged and traumatized. And of course he had like daddy wounds and all of this stuff, right? So they are in a relationship. They break up. They're in a relationship. They break up.
Break up.
Eventually they get back together. Billy gets pregnant. And they decide, even though Brad was like I don't want a baby. They decide to get back together after she kind of like left him because he reacted poorly to that news. They decide to get back together. Billy has a miscarriage. And so Brad decides that the way to deal with the miscarriage is by cheating on her.
That's not the way to deal with it in real life. Do not do that. Do not do that.
I don't think anybody needs that advice.
You know,
that's fair, honestly.
It's not our audience.
Yeah, I was going to say no one in our audience. But so they end up getting back together after all of that somehow. And then he leaves because he has this like weird breakdown about his daddy issues and all of this stuff. And then Billy, you know, they're like separated. And then Billy meets this guy named Cooper, who's like the good, dependable.
The golden retriever. Not even though. He doesn't get that title.
No, yeah, because he's not like fun. He's just stable. He's not fun or interesting. He's just calm and like consistent as the day is long.
You know what you're going to get.
Yeah. He's the safe guy, right? And so they set up this dichotomy of like Billy's former life being unstable and unpredictable and scary, but yeah, also fun and interesting, but also and
they kind
independent.
Of feminism that way too. Like they kind of like just like it's like weirdly like coded as like girl power.
Yes, but also too in this way that is like kind of anti-feminist, you know?
Yeah.
Where they paint this concept of being an empowered and independent woman as like a silly and childish thing that is inherently like, unpredictable and unsafe.
Like look at Sasha. Like the entire time they kept her, no matter how successful she became, they kept her in that dingy. I can't tell if it was a set design thing or
I don't know, but I don't like it.
They like
it's irritating
always
to me.
Just living out of a suitcase, almost kind of a thing. Like never actually fully
she's a professor at a big university, but she lives in this dingy apartment that's
and like I'm sure it's expensive in New York.
Sure, but like I think there also is like something to be said about the inherent racism in the portrayal of her character, because like Billy is this ostensibly white woman. I know that I think Sarah is her name, the actress. I don't think she is a white woman, but like the representation of Billy's character is very white coded, right?
The characters in the show, not the real people,
not the actress. But like this dichotomy between Billy being the stable, married, white woman with children and like who doesn't have a career because she's being a mom.
Yes.
She lives in this nice house with hired help. That of course the hired help is a Mexican woman, by the way.
Who basically raises the children.
Literally. But you know, they have the fancy house and the good clothes and the nice car and all of this stuff. Yeah. And then Sasha, even though she is like likely probably more successful.
She had to be. She was writing books.
I mean, like granted Cooper was probably like super rich because he does like whatever his venture capital, whatever. But like Sasha's by no means like destitute, right? Like she's a professor at a major university with a PhD that she achieved very early in life and is this incredibly intelligent adult woman. And yet, because she's the black woman, she's like reduced to the like quirky fun friend.
You never
like,
know what you're gonna
get. And like using all of this awful force.
The writing for her
is so bad. Yeah. So bad. And they cast her into this stereotype of like the unpredictable, unstable one who has attachment issues and like, you know, is promiscuous and like blah, 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 all this stuff. It doesn't feel like an accident the way that they represented her character as being like inherently less than Billy, even though Billy was unhappy, you know, which also kind of grinds my gears. Anyways, all of this, the point that I was originally making is that I think it's interesting that this whole show, because it's this like anthology about Billy finding herself and like exploring like, is my former life what I really wanted?
Like,
Am I unhappy here? Kind of. Yeah. Did I lose myself in becoming a wife and a mother and all of this stuff, which obviously is like a primary interest for their demographic.
Of course. Fair and valid.
But the end of the show, the answer to this question of like, did Billy lose herself in marrying Cooper and becoming a mom and all of this stuff ends up being like, yes, but also no, because her and Brad get married. She does the cliche, like, I'm pregnant at the very end of the show thing. And then we shoehorn everybody, even Sasha and her.
Everyone has to be married.
Everyone gets married. Everybody has babies. And we all sort of, it's like we come back to this conclusion that like, yes, the right way to be and the only way that you'll feel fulfilled is by being married, cohabitating with kids in a monogamous relationship that doesn't really include a lot of kink or like stuff on the sexual fringes. That's something that's for like midlife crises, for your, you know, young life, your like early 20s, and then you put it behind you. You become a mature grown up and you put it behind you. Don't be like Billy, who had a midlife crisis and threw her life away, is like basically the message at the end.
But also too, then we also like the other couple who's stayed together, but actually secretly hate each other and are swingers and like why did we need to go? Like why did we need to?
Which like, also can we talk about that?
I wish
please?
you would, please. No, yes.
There's an episode in the middle of this I think season 1.
No, season 2, because that's when they were trying to.
Is it season 2?
I'm pretty sure it's season 2, because that's when they're trying to get
it doesn't matter, I guess.
Together.
Where Billy and Cooper
go with their friends.
Because Cooper is friends with this guy from work.
I can't remember his name, but he's such a fucking chode.
Devin. Cooper is friends with this guy from work whose name is Devin, and Devin is married to a woman named Trina.
Actually, the worst written character.
The worst.
Actually, the worst.
So easily hateable, both of those characters. Devin and Trina are friends with Billy and Cooper, both because Billy and Trina are like moms. Doing the drop-off thing with their kids at school, and also because Cooper and Devin work together. But Billy confides at one point about this like potential indiscretion that's happening with Brad, because Brad's like contacting her and wants to get back together with her, and it's this whole like will they won't they thing.
Yeah.
So Billy confides in Trina about it, and basically Trina's suggestion about how to fix Billy and Cooper's lack of a fulfilling sex life is like, come with us. She literally tells them, don't worry, like you'll see when we get there.
Yes.
Does not disclose anything that's about to happen, and then they show up at this like swingers party, essentially, which like first of all is like not really a great representation. Not that we're like experts about swingers parties, but like the idea that there is just like this mansion that's filled with hundreds of people who are all like doing jello shots and drugs and like fucking in all areas of the house. And also too, the thing that really pissed me off about this whole sequence of events is that this moment where Cooper and Billy are like, oh, maybe this is sort of hot and fun. Maybe we'll like hook up in front of these people in this like sort of, exhibitionist kind of way. The people who are in the room start to crowd in on them.
Can you fucking imagine?
And then when Billy's like, no, I'm not comfortable. People are still crowding them, and it's almost like this like
predatory
pressure. Yeah, like everybody in the room is like, do it. It's the subtext.
Like a fucking cult.
Which also too, I just want to be clear that like as people who are polyamorous, and like again, not that we're authorities on sex parties necessarily. I don't think we've ever been to one, but this is not normal, right? Like this attitude that like everybody in this scenario will push you to do or say things that you're not comfortable with is so not
far
real.
From the truth.
This is the other thing too that's so funny to me is that like people who write storylines about kink and non-monogamy. Yes. Well, and it's these people who have no concept about the actual culture that they're discussing, because like the truth is that like polyamorous people and people who are heavily involved in kink are like
boundaries.
Well, I think they're probably more boundaried, right?
Think so
because
too.
Being in a relationship with multiple people, you're constantly
navigating
this question of like, is this respectful to my partners? How am I balancing things? Does everybody feel good? Is this something that's working for us? And so you're constantly being forced into this conversation about consent and boundaries and norms. And like, the very nature of the thing is having to design your relationships from scratch, basically, because it's all different.
Every single time.
And like kink especially, right? Like there is the potential for kink to go wrong real quick. So that's a community that's like particularly focused on boundaries.
Also, especially too, it's like, oh, I've never seen you here before. Like, let's give them all the space and comfortability possible. They're like, you will be fucking here tonight.
Literally.
What is
like,
that?
That's so weird.
Like,
no one should do that. I'm sure that there probably are sex parties where that has happened, which like, fuck that. That's terrible.
Sure, of course.
But I don't want people to walk away from that thinking that like all non-monogamous people are driven by this hedonistic,
it's exactly that.
hypersexual, that's like devoid of boundaries or decorum.
Like, look at these two. It's like, because look at these two people, they hate each other in their relationship, which in a relationship with each other, and like they'll do anything that moves.
Yes, and also that they're using non-monogamy as a way to fix their lack of connection.
Yes,
please don't do that. Just as a PSA,
polyamory is
not a band-aid.
Yeah,
it is not the band-aid baby for your relationship that you might think it is.
Don't put that shit in your dating profiles, please. Like looking to spice things up or whatever. It just reads as like we have a problematic.
Honestly, maybe do if that's part of the problem, because then it helps people not engage, and it will also help you guys probably not get involved in something that will turn too real too quick, because it's just not good
to not put on a dating profile, survey says.
Yes, looking to spice up our marriage. Yeah, non-monogamy is not like a thing that you should be engaging in
for
only
silly bobillies.
Yes, like I think it's entirely possible to enjoy non-monogamy, group sex, threesomes, those kinds of things as like a more kink oriented thing, right? Like it doesn't have to be like either you're polyamorous and you want to fall in love with other people, or you don't get group sex. Like I don't think that's true either. But like also too, be clear about that, right? We're not polyamorous and we enjoy threesomes and group sex. And like that's a very really clear and okay boundary to have.
That's totally cool.
Yeah. I just don't like the way they represented that in the show at all.
Speaking of representing it, it's almost so funny, like the people without kids, the way like Sasha and the other, I can't remember his name, her boyfriend.
Majid.
No. Majid was
Billy's
boyfriend. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Sasha's.
Oh, Sasha's boyfriend.
Yes.
I can't remember
the doctor.
Yeah.
Without Borders.
I don't remember his name.
Anyways, though, but like the way they portray the people without kids, because Majid like so caught up in running his restaurant and stuff, as if it's it's okay to be career focused.
Yes,
and not like that doesn't make you a bad.
Yes, and I think also too the way that they painted this dichotomy between married people with kids and people without kids.
Yes, as
like the people without kids were inherently irresponsible, impulsive, they were dangerous and unsafe, and also selfish.
Not trustworthy.
Like the subtext there of like they're so obsessed with themselves that they're incapable of being good caregivers was really loud.
What is your opinion on how they wrote Sasha, or like that whole obviously writing a book arc? Yeah, like pro-feminist, don't date men.
I know. I'm really torn about it because I was happy to see her at the end like challenge this pressure from her family about like you have to put your career first and you're not allowed to have a man thing, because I don't think that's true either, and I don't think that's healthy.
Like you should be able to have both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but also too at the same time, like I was really frustrated that they essentially reduced her story to getting married. You know,
it's so funny that you say that. Yeah, because basically, it just really, the whole end of the show really comes off as like, we need to finish this. What's the safest way for us to do this?
Yes,
just
get married.
Someone just in a boardroom was like, they just all get married. Hurry up and finish the show so we don't have to pay for it anymore.
And I know that it's likely because the show got canceled.
Of course.
And the second season being only 6 episodes, I think it did feel very rushed in that regard. So like, fair enough. But I just am frustrated that like, the best compromise that we could find for this character who
spent the whole show.
Yes. The crux of her character arc and her character development was how do you center yourself in your own life and chase after the things that matter to you, like professional success, and also develop a safe and happy relationship and connection. How do you do both of those things? And at the end, the answer to that question was essentially like, be willing to sacrifice your career so that you can get married, only to find out that he actually sacrificed stuff for you, and so it's all fine.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like, what is that? What is that?
I don't know. I don't like that. It just felt very reductionist.
Again, I feel like all the characters kind of also too, because also too, then if Billy was in a relationship with Cooper, and Cooper saw her in the way that Brad did, would that make everything then okay? Like, do you think she would still get this?
I don't know. Okay, and then this is
for Brad,
because this is the other thing too that I do genuinely like the show, right? Like when I watched it, I cried, especially the season finale. And I did really enjoy the end of the show.
It's good. All things considered, it's a really good show.
I liked it.
Same.
I know that there's problems with it. Obviously, we just talked about a bunch of them. But I did like emotionally find myself really invested in the show. And I think it's because the relationship between Billy and Cooper and Brad is like very, I don't know, it felt like very loud for me specifically, because we've talked about this before, right? Like when we were younger, we had like, I think one serious breakup in our like, God, we were teenagers actually at that point because we got married when we were 20.
18, 19, yeah. I don't think it lasted barely a month.
Yeah. But I mean, that was like the longest period of time that we'd ever been broken up. And like we've talked before about how if anything in that period of time had changed, our lives would probably... Our lives would probably have taken...
This YouTube channel would not exist.
Yes. And so, like, I just in watching the end of the show was thinking about, like, what would have happened if I had ended up with somebody who was, like, my version of Cooper, right?
Oh, God.
Because the thing that, like, really got me about the end of the show, for all of its, like, faults and foibles, is that Billy and Brad seemed to, like, circle around each other. They seemed to, like, not be able to avoid each other. Yeah, because... Brad saw Billy for who she was.
Yes.
That like he saw her as a whole person in her whole self. Yeah. And he like accepted that. Like Brad's very problematic, and I don't agree with most of the way that they represented his behavior.
But
and I was just like really, I don't know, like at the end of the show, I think that's why I cried during the last episode too, is because I feel like you're sort of my Brad, like not that you're problematic. You're not, you've never done any of those things.
I don't want to be a Brad, but I would be your Brad.
But in the sense that like you see me in my wholeness,
I think so I try.
You like are accepting of me, not just accepting of me, but like celebratory of me in my messiness, in my like loudness and selfishness, like you're happy to be with me because I am who I am, not because like I provide you with a service or because you've gotten something out of me.
Gross.
Yeah, but I think that was like very much the subtext of Billy and Cooper's relationship is that like, you know, he
Cooper
liked Billy because she was pretty, because she like fit this bill of like educated but not too ambitious, so she can still be a stay-at-home mom and raise my kids for me.
If you ask Cooper what his favorite thing about Billy is, he would say she's
a great mom. Yes.
She's a great mom.
Exactly.
Gross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's also why it was like, I mean, the show is like pretty obviously geared towards this demographic of like moms who may or may not be frustrated with their marriages and their lives. I know it is just kind of sad to know that a lot of that resonates with people because they're married to a Cooper.
That's how I feel about those TikToks where like someone will post something and like the husband is just being so mean and outright.
And also just like not seeing their wives, you know? It's
like
cruel.
the puzzle one is so hard.
Oh God, that one was outright cruel though.
And then everyone comments on it, and then you get no, we're actually fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's all so good.
This is
like
just a silly
ma'am. No, it is not. But yeah, I think the way that they geared that show, it's like obvious that it's intended for that demographic, you know, which is like sad. But I think that was why the show made me so emotional. Yeah, it's because I was like the opposite of that demographic, right? Like we don't have kids, we don't have a desire to have kids.
Yeah,
and our life at this point, especially, is like pretty fucking messy. And like I enjoy that, you know? It's like fun to be like doing the like adult things that Billy and Cooper were doing. Yeah. You know, like living independently and whatever, all of this stuff, like chasing our careers and all of that.
Yeah.
But without the like soul crushing, like I've lost my identity part of things.
I think that's really what it kind of boils down to is like this like losing yourself. And also too, I feel like the patriarchy, capitalism, like I feel like those all play into this like idea that, you know, you're supposed to be young and wild and like you're supposed to be tamed when you're an adult.
Get it out of your system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we just had a conversation, or the video you were just talking about, like the 7-year itch thing too. Like, I wonder if it's like comes from this like inherent thing.
Yeah.
I think you've talked about this with astrology too, of how like when you suppress your rising sign.
Yes.
How it like wants to be
like seen and expressed.
Yes. Yeah. And so I always wonder, or I'm just curious, we'll probably have a whole video about that. I would think it would be
what,
nice.
the 7-year itch thing? Yeah.
But I'm always just so curious, like, is that just like inherently us, like what happens to someone when you push down and like you can only like how long you can
only
like,
suppress it for so long. Well, I mean, there is like interesting astrology stuff about the 7-year itch thing actually, because
really?
Yeah, because
what cycle happens every 7 years?
Saturn.
It's when always fucking Saturn.
When you have your first Saturn return, you're usually somewhere between like 28, 29.
Okay.
And it can last, depending on your particular chart, it can last until you're like 30. It's like a year, 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
And obviously 28 divided by 4 is 7. And so this like joke that people have about a 7-year itch oftentimes correlates in people's charts with Saturn ingressing into a different sign, or I can't remember specifically what it is, but it's like a way, it's Saturn like squares something in your chart. And squares in astrology are sometimes a challenging aspect where like if you can create synergy with this friction, then you'll see like a lot of growth and like positive, healthy movement or whatever. But it can be challenging when you're in the midst of that, especially if you're not like prepared necessarily. So it is kind of interesting that like people oftentimes have like a Saturn squaring something. Oh, that's what it is. Because Saturn will square because you can. Okay, hold on. Let me back up. You can do birth charts for lots of different things. People will do them for businesses, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you don't need like a time of birth necessarily so much as you do like the time of a thing happening. Yeah. So people can do charts for their marriage based on the day and time that you actually said I do.
Yeah.
And so Saturn will be squaring whatever your like your marriage birthday, your anniversary, 7 years into your marriage. And so that's what the square is. I remember it now.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so the 7-year itch, like in astrology, makes a lot of sense because that's a time that like Saturn, which is normally like Saturn is the planet that teaches us our lessons and like helps us grow.
Yeah.
Saturn squares some of your more challenging aspects there.
Speaking of, can we just talk about too how like
placements rather?
It's almost, I think we talked about it too, like almost a advertisement for like not being, obviously we're weirdos, we're polyamorous weirdos.
Yeah.
But like Cooper wanted a little side piece with his boss.
I know.
And Billy, like,
yes.
I wonder if Brad and Billy were like doing their own thing too, like tangentially
I don't know.
to,
yeah,
like if there was a world where we didn't uproot everyone's life.
Yes. Well, and the thing that's funny about it to me is it does kind of feel like one big advertisement for non-monogamy, because everyone in that show at some point has either a desire to cheat on their partner or does cheat on their partner. And like, I don't know.
So bad. I'm not saying don't, like if you want to cheat, don't be like, hey, let's be poly.
No, yeah. That's not the same. And I'm not saying that all people should be polyamorous. I don't believe in that.
No.
But I do think
that
I do think it's interesting that, like, you know, in an alternate universe, if Billy and Cooper had been able to have a conversation about, like, I'm really happy with this aspect of our relationship, right? Like, you're a great dad, you're safe and you're stable, you're a good partner to me. And you're just not really getting my rocks off.
Well, because also, isn't there a scene where they're having sex and he's like watching football or something?
Yes.
Or like,
yeah, it's the beginning of the show.
Oh, yeah, isn't it?
She tries to come on to him and he's like not really into it. And they do end up having sex, but he's watching the show behind her.
Yes.
And she's like, seriously? Hello?
And just like, writes it or like,
yeah. And it's just like all really sad and depressing.
Also, the whole premise with like the journal and her laptop, she's like, she basically put it like in the center of the desktop and it's like, open, do not read, Cooper.
Literally. But also there's no password on it. No. We didn't put the computer to sleep. It's just open on the kitchen island.
Table.
Hello?
Literally.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting the way that they set that up, because it's like, I don't know, to me it seems fairly obvious that she wanted him to read it. No,
which, like, is fine, but like also just have a conversation.
Tell him then.
Did they ever go to therapy in that show? Or
no.
Also too, and I think normally I can suspend reality for those things too.
Yeah.
But like especially in the second season, the nanny is just like full time, always living at the house,
raising the children,
full timing.
Yes. Which, like, first of all, does that woman not have a life? Like, why are you guys asking her to clock in all day, every day? Because she does reference her own family. Like, goddamn, let her have a life. But also, on top of that, like, we're just constantly disappearing. Like, Billy is constantly leaving to go to the city. Bye. I would be like, for time and a half, I can watch your fucking kids at the last second. Hello?
Also, the PTA group of moms, mean, catty.
Rude.
Oh.
Which is also funny too, because it does, like, for this show that is like supposedly about like the joy of being a woman and like finding your empowerment and all of this stuff.
Yeah,
there's also like a surprising lack of intimate female relationships. Other than Billy and Sasha, there's really no meaningful like female friendships in the show.
Also, they almost use Sasha as like almost, and I hate to say, like,
she's not like a person in the show. She's like a device.
Use her as like like to progress the plot.
Well, and they reduce her to a lot of stereotypes too, right? Like the thing where she has to be the like magical advice giving, like fortune teller for Billy, but she's not a person in her own right.
Yes,
which
well, like
feels
we have to. It's Billy's past always coming. Like Sasha's still got her feet in the water, and like Billy wants to put her toes back in.
No, yeah, exactly.
She can't just be like just can't just be friends.
Ew.
Without,
literally.
Like,
yes. Well, and also we can't just have a friendship where like we have this shared history and we have a deeply intimate platonic relationship that isn't problematic. Like, why does Sasha always have to be sort of in this, like, I don't know, she gets like pointed at in this role of like, you're sort of the person who's bringing problems into Billy's life. You know what I'm saying?
Like putting ideas in her head or like reminding her of like how fun her life used to be.
Well, and it's also not lost on me that the reason Brad and Billy became involved in each other's lives again is because Sasha was fucking Brad at the beginning of the show.
And she finds out.
Yeah, it feels like Sasha gets scapegoated a lot.
Kind of,
which I don't like.
And again, like used as a device, but it's like I get it. Like it makes for better TV and stuff.
But also, I don't know. Like it sort of bothers me that like Billy and Trina are at each other's throats all the time. Billy and all of the PTA are at each other's throats.
Billy and everyone who isn't Sasha.
Yeah. And even Sasha is not really a fully fleshed out character in her own right. Yeah. There's like, for a show that's supposed to be about the female experience of discovering your eroticism and intimacy and your identity, there's not really a lot of female friendships. It's like a lot of Billy orbiting around men.
Oh, no.
You know?
It is. It is.
All of the meaningful character moments that we see Billy have are either at the behest of men or in company with men.
So I'm trying to remember, does Sasha help talk Billy into it either one way or another?
She tries to talk Billy out of being with Brad at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then she tries to talk Billy into being with Majid after Billy breaks up with Cooper and they get a divorce. And then she tries to, I can't remember if she talks Billy into or out of Brad the second time.
I can't remember either.
I think, no, she talks her out of it because Billy is going to go talk to Brad when she finds out that Brad lost his record company or whatever. And Sasha is like, absolutely not. I don't want any part of this, also, which is fair, honestly.
Can we just talk about, too, how the model who leaves Brad after he just loses all his money, like, they just, like, didn't even, like,
we just never talk about her again. Well, and also, like, co-parenting, we don't know her. No. I guess Brad and Gigi just don't co-parent their son.
It just doesn't exist anymore. They said, you might as well just kill her off in a car accident. Some real fucking Days of Our Lives shit.
No, literally. Yeah. Wait, that's such a good point. I didn't even think about that. That's really true. They just kind of write her off. Yeah.
She's done.
Literally.
Oh my gosh.
The whole show was just really interesting. I think I enjoyed watching the show because it's like, I don't know, like it's drama-y.
Oh, totally.
Also.
So delicious.
Which obviously, like, we love that.
We love the smut.
Yeah, that's true. All of the smutty, sexy is like really fun. But I don't know. I kind of wish that Netflix, because we talked about this in an episode a while ago.
Okay.
That Netflix decides what shows get renewed based on like their second episode or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish that it wasn't like that because I feel like if there had been some more time.
Do you think there's more to tell or do?
I think if they had handled it differently,
okay,
the show could have been a lot more interesting.
Totally agreed.
Like, I don't think the second season needed to culminate in everybody getting married and Billy getting pregnant again. I would have loved to see what it looks like for Billy
some more fleshing out.
Well, yeah, Billy and Cooper and Brad and everybody to kind of like settle into a better, like, more honest representation of like everybody getting what they wanted.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you were saying, for the sake of being quick and also like an easy wrap up.
Yeah.
It was like everybody's in love and they get married. The end, you know?
Yes.
But I don't know. I wish that there would have been some storytelling about like how Billy and Brad can have this life where like Billy does get the things that she wants of like, you know, living, I don't know, not like a risky lifestyle, but like the fun, adventurous thing.
Like, I feel like there's a world where you didn't have to destroy your whole life.
Yes.
To have
and also that she can be a present parent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
They definitely wrote her towards the end. Like, she becomes a very selfish, self-centered, focused.
Yeah. Which I just disagree with that premise.
Impulsive.
I don't think that you have to choose between being adventurous or discovering your identity and being a good parent.
Like, I feel like you should be able to do both.
Yeah, I feel like lots of people do.
Yeah.
Right?
Because also it feels really fucked up that like your choice is like shoving down everything you know about yourself that feels right.
Yes.
Or like being a good parent.
No, exactly.
Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, and I feel like there was just no real addressing of like the regrets that Billy had. Like,
that's kind of true,
because I mean, the whole crux of the show really is that like she basically regretted this decision to get married to Brad and abandon her old life. And then also, like, can we just talk about the fact that she just straight up lied to Cooper? Never told him about her past life.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of a giant
never
red
come
flag.
up?
That's kind of a giant.
I've learned more about people on first dates than Billy and Cooper knew in the entire duration of their marriage.
When you look like I do, people will tell you that just standing in line waiting to check out at the fucking grocery store. I swear.
I relate to that, honestly.
It's like on you, they can smell the therapist. They know.
Even though I don't look like a therapist from the outside, it's like I have a tattoo on my forehead that says "Tell me your traumas."
What do you like to tell people you do for work?
I tell people that I'm an accountant sometimes. I tell people that I am in a warehouse job sometimes. No, I lie about my job all the time because I don't want people to know I'm a therapist.
For good reason.
I just don't.
Also, people then too, it's like it instantly makes you like a.
Yep. Listen, I've had some bad experiences in the past.
But like,
I'm even more untrusting than I was before. Telling people about my job.
If you ever need the goss, it's with Mickey.
Yeah. But no, for real, I feel annoyed that they didn't address, first of all, that Brad and not Brad, Billy and Cooper just never addressed her past life, but also that they didn't like have a real conversation about her regrets. You know, it was basically because it felt like the whole thing was like, you know, this thing that I don't know, maybe this might be kind of a hot take, but
now you have to say it.
We have talked before about how, especially like in Fundy content, at least, right? When people are like, you have to have kids, it does come across as this like, I was promised that being a mother, for example, would be the most fulfilling, the most life-giving, and also an easy, somewhat manageable thing for me to do so long as I do it the right way. And then the cold hard reality hits
like
of how challenging, how difficult, how like, you know, soul sucking it is sometimes.
This isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and not that being a parent is bad. I know that there are lots and lots of people who are actually very, very happy and fulfilled in their role as parents. But I think it's true, especially for small children. They're very labor intensive. It requires a lot of sacrifice and compromise.
Well, and statistically,
it's very difficult.
Marriage satisfaction plummets
tanks in that first year. Yeah,
because
it's hard. You're sleep deprived. Yes,
you're doing something you've never done before.
Exactly, and for
like
people,
you're keeping something alive.
Yes, for people who are nursing or breastfeeding, that like you're quite literally being sucked dry, and like it affects you physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole thing.
Not to mention your own recovery from birthing.
Yeah, from like what is actually a very traumatic medical procedure.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, right? And I just am like annoyed that this show represented what could have been actually a very complex and nuanced conversation about like the difficulties of motherhood while like it's simultaneously fulfilling, and they turned it into this like, no, it's actually really fulfilling, and Billy was basically just being like an ungrateful bitch.
Yeah.
Like
why weren't you so thankful you had everything? You had the husband, the husband, the house, and the kids.
I don't know, I was like frustrated that they didn't address that like this was a regret of hers, and like while you can value your kids, you can also center yourself in your life, you know?
I feel like there has to be a world where you don't have to give up.
Yeah. Like I mean, and lots of people do that, right? Like obviously for the early years.
And
yes,
stuff that,
yes.
You know,
and I'm not endorsing that people make irresponsible decisions in regards to parenthood, but like I think them painting this, because it was almost like this thing where like in the show we're sort of saying this quiet part out loud of like being a mother was not enough, right?
Yeah.
It was not enough for Billy to feel fulfilled, and she
needed more.
Left behind her life, except that she blew up her life to chase after all of this, and then at the end discovered that like actually being a mom is enough. And no, you missed it.
Like all the character development, like just right out the door.
Yeah. Like how come we can't have a conversation about how like, no, actually, like she was right the whole time. The way she went about it was like real messy and probably bad.
Yeah.
But like also it's okay that it, you know, was not enough for her because she wanted to have a career and to have like, you know, excitement and independence and fun. It just felt like the thing, because the show is catered to this demographic of like potentially wives or moms who are unhappy.
Yeah.
That it felt like the ending of the show was to sort of reassure and smooth the feathers back down to say like, now don't leave your husbands, ladies. Don't anybody get any ideas.
Now. It's like when fundies start reading books and they start feeling like, they're like, oh, I can't read this. This is making me feel content.
Yes. Discontent.
Discontent.
Yeah. When you're like, that's probably because your marriage is bad, though.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of what we were nail almost on the head.
It felt like somebody rewrote the ending of this TV show to be about, actually, it's all good and it's all fine. Don't worry about it.
It was a bad dream.
The life that you have is actually really good. Don't think too hard about it.
I am happy that these fictional characters did get their happy endings.
I know. It's really sweet. Okay, question. What do you think about Cooper's ending to the show?
It just feels like, oh, you can manage having a woman who is actually like strong, independent, and like strong-willed, and like God forbid ask for a little bit more.
Yes.
And he's like, okay, now go settle with the
so fragile,
the
milk
conservative
toast.
light woman who will like never speak back to you,
never challenge you.
Yes. Like here you go, little tyke. Like here's something more you can manage.
Literally,
like, here's the training wheels again.
Yes, but also too that Billy saying like you're not enough for me basically meant that he had a complete meltdown and midlife crisis and like almost killed himself and several other people in this really traumatic car accident.
This Ken only has a good day if Billy stays at the house and takes care of the kids and does everything so Cooper can go be big businessman.
Billy doesn't have an identity.
Yes. It really is the bird in the cage thing, like literally the house
is a
metaphor for a cage.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I think we unpacked it.
I'm jealous that you've had the Nito this whole time.
Oh my God, it's so nice. Do you want to do okay, this thing is hot now. Let
me touch it. I bet it's all warm.
Watch. All right.
Yeah.
Look at those peaks.
Now watch, like turn it over and it will like level. No, like flip it on your hand. I mean.
What do you mean?
Give me see it.
Like
that. See?
I thought I had it the other way.
That's why I said turn it around. Yeah, there you go. See how it levels? It's so nice.
Just like sucking in. It's like a black hole.
This is not sponsored, to be clear. We're just neurodivergent.
This thing has kept me. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to touch it.
It's hot.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a nice place to wrap up the episode. Thank you guys for coming. I'm losing my voice
again. My hands are so like I could
love that for me.
I could rip I have to do something.
You have a phone book in half.
Yeah, because my hand. Yeah, no, literally.
Your grip strength is out of control. Thank you guys for coming and listening. Let us know if you guys watch Sex Wife.
Oh. It's kind of like Sex Wife.
Sex Life on Netflix. Let us know what you think of it. I know we have a couple of Discord people who've watched it. So sound off. Also, hi. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
If you guys like the episode, you can like the episode. You can leave us 5-star reviews.
Yes, please.
On whatever podcast platform you're listening on. And we will see you for the next one.
Sweet.
Okay thanks. Bye.
Bye.